The goal is not to make this video long, I promise. But family, I want to come to y'all because I do have something on my chest. I lost my grandmother May 17, 2019, which was a couple weeks ago. And I'm learning that in this process, that I'm gaining some spiritual gifts, that I knew that they were coming, but I just didn't know how. So long story short, I want to explain to you what actually occurred. So at work, we have this mind, body, and soul that a couple ladies we started to do, where we actually sit in a group setting, and the lights are low. There's aromatherapy, and we all sit collectively together, and we do breathing techniques. We do meditation, and we discuss different things spiritually. And so, completely new to me, right at work. I think I take it to a whole different level, but that's basically what's going on. So, this particular day, May 17th, we were literally sitting in the group, and we were talking about being able to have an experience where we would transport ourselves, and we would do a type of, how do I want to put it? What word did they use actually for it? I forgot the word that they used, but we would literally transport ourselves, and we would find a place of comfort, and we would find a place that was peaceful to us, right? So my place of comfort that I was immediately taken to was my grandmother's kitchen. So the visualization technique, that's exactly what it was, visualization technique. So I visualized my mode of comfort was my grandmother's kitchen. And I was taken to her kitchen, and I could literally see her mixing bowl. I could see her refrigerator. I can see her black and white checkered floor. I can see, outside in the patio, I could see her flowers. And I mean, I was literally feeling, was sensing, I was touching. And the visualization took me to a place where in my childhood I was comforted. And so that was around 2, maybe 15, around that time, where we actually stopped the session. And right before we stopped the session, we were sitting in this group, and all of a sudden there was a light, and the light basically transcended on this chair that was in front of me. And so I could see my grandmother. I could just feel her essence, her presence. And I told her, I said, Granny, you can sit down. And so the whole thing with me in the group was my grandmother. So 2 days prior, she was actually taken to the hospital. And so after the group session was over, I went downstairs. I normally try to get some sunshine, maybe twice a day. I get out the coldness of the office, and I'll go downstairs, and I'll sit in my truck, and literally I'm learning and yearning the sun. I'm getting its rays and everything else. And so I went downstairs to take a break, and I text my mom, and I asked her how my grandmother was doing. And I didn't get a response. So about a minute later, my daughter texts me. I'm currently in Houston, and my family is in Michigan. And so my daughter, she was around my mom, and so she called me, and we talked for a minute, and I asked her, how Granny was doing, and she said, not too good. And so I said, okay. So she was kind of giving me an update on some of the things that I will not discuss here on YouTube, that was actually going on. And I said, okay. I said, well, just let me know, keep me informed. So I literally was still in my truck. And not even 5 minutes later after that, my daughter, she calls me back and she says she's gone. And, I just didn't know how to take that, right? So I just basically just said, let me make it back to my office. Let me just make it back to my office. And it didn't go well. But what I want to say, and I think this is twofold because it's given me a comfort too, is that when you start elevating and growing in the spiritual world, you're going to get some spiritual gifts. You're going to get attributes. You're going to get the opportunity to see things, experience things, feel things. You're going to be able to have visions and dreams. You're going to be able to actually communicate. And basically that was happening in the physical with my grandmother, that I could see her in that chair and I was talking about her and I could feel that comfort. And so what I want to share is something that Bobby Hemmitt has been really repetitiously talking about throughout his lectures, and that is to grieve and mourn in a way, but don't stay there. And when I first heard him say that, I was like, how can you not grieve and mourn? You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where you're trying to express the way that a person felt, and all these emotions come up, and you're hurt and you're confused and there's pain. And 3 days after my grandmother passed, just kind of scrolling through YouTube and all of that video came up. And I listened to it very intently, and I understood exactly what he was talking about and the message that he was trying to relay. And I understood it. And what he was saying was, don't grieve for them to the magnitude that you confuse them in their transition from the physical to the spiritual, because they get stuck. You're supposed to express your emotions. That's human, because we're in a human form, physically, right? But when you grieve and you mourn them to that magnitude, you don't let them go to that spiritual realm peacefully. And sometimes they don't go because they're confused. You're grieving for them. You're hurt. But they've just experienced the ultimate gift. They're now in a place where it is peace. They have the most comforting, the most wonderful, captivating realm that they have just entered, and they're in limbo. And so you're not supposed to stay there. That's what he was telling us. Don't stay there because it disrupts them. And I get it. And I'm going to tell you what I also learned is that when you accept that and you're able to walk in that and not have that selfishness, because there was another component to what he was saying, and I got that, and I was so thankful for that, is that he was saying it's not the fact that the loved one transitions so much. I mean, you're going to miss that person. That person played a major role in your life, or you had love for that person. It's the fact that you're so confused on that person not being in your life anymore, them not feeling the role that they played in your life. Not so much the fact that they're gone, but what that person meant to you. How are you now to function with that person not being in your life? That is the hurt and the pain, because now you have in your mind, you have someone now who's absent from you, and how are you going to be able to cope and deal with that, right? So it just made complete sense. And when you get to that level, I will tell you, that's where you get your strength from. That's when they are able to give you the pieces of them that you need to be able to deal with the fact that they are now your ancestor. They have made that transition. Now they're spiritually ascended. And so this is so much for me, as me speaking this and putting this out here, because somehow it's going to help somebody else. I mean, I was just moved to do it. That's how I operate. I mean, it is twofold. But I want you to know, if you're watching this, and if you're going through the separation of someone that you loved and they just made the transition, please understand that the duality of life and death is a beautiful thing, because the residue of who that person was ends up being inside of you. And so you have to be able to complete that circle and that cycle in death and life and that transition. You have to be able to give them that peace and comfort, because in return, they're going to give you their gifts. And I'm learning so much about my grandmother now, since she's made the transition of who she was, what her gifts were, her strength, and all of these wonderful things that I never knew of. But I'm able to listen, and I'm able to let her go. And I told her, you can go, it's okay. When she sat down in that chair, I said, Granny, it's okay. You can sit down. You can lay your burdens down. You fought a good fight. And so now I'm able to actually give that strength that she gave me to help my mother and my family, to help them grieve. Not to say that I'm not going to have my moments. However, the big picture, I understand. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Hopefully it helps somebody. Just talking about it for me is a great release. So just know that is that what you're looking for in life normally comes when someone makes that transition unto death. It's there. It will be there. And I will say this, most of the times when someone dies, you see people's true colors. And we all know that, because people fight over money. It's usually a mess to some degree, right? But you find out who people really are. But if you stop and bypass whatever else is going on and look to that person and ask that person to give you their gifts spiritually, give you tools spiritually, they will. That's the beauty of death and life. And that's what I've learned to understand. So, like I said, I hope this helps somebody. I hope that you understand that the process of death is something that we should not really mourn. And that's something that Bobby Hemmitt, he made sure I got that, because it came up in my time of need. So I love y'all, family. Y'all can share this to someone that you may know that's going through a process right now of grief or despair, that they can't get it right, they can't understand, they can't grapple the fact that a person left them. Share it to them, and so they can get understanding that the carrying on part is just as important as your tears. You know, the loss and the mourning part. You have to be able to ask for strength so you can get what you need to carry on that torch, because now they're an ancestor and they're going to be there with you. They're going to help you every step of the way if you seek that, if you let them go peacefully so they can reach that level. Don't let them be stuck here because you're grieving so much and they get confused. And then they want to stay to comfort you. No, let them go so you can be everything that they have set the intention for you to be. They want to give you what they have spiritually. It's just up to you to accept that. So I love y'all. Remember, be a reflection. Show your reflection to others so your reflection can come back and you can see yourself in the faces of them. I love y'all.